like, all right, someone else out here is already doing exactly what I want to do. What's the point of me like trying to do this? They probably have more funding and a team of people, and I'm just trying to start this in my living room. I'm not capable of this, all that self-doubt.
Sure.
So I got in my own head and was like, I can't do this.
The millennial generation is as follows.
Welcome to
Surrounded by idiots.
Radio Podcast.
Helping to improve your life at least 1% better every single day. This is the Surrounded by Idiots Radio Podcast. Hey, everybody, it's Tony Dufresne, PhD, welcoming me back because I took a week off because I was sick as a dog, and then I went on a little vacation. So I hope everything is good. And this week is going to be a lot of fun, actually, because it's almost like a real-time story about a purpose project. And that's really a lot of what I talk about with my clients is about establishing some sort of a purpose project, especially after they've gotten into a job or they're in a job where they hate it or it sucks or it just doesn't provide what they want to provide. So we have actually, Angela's in today, and she is going to explain to us, and we didn't talk ahead of time, and she's going to explain to us where she's at. And because it's all, like Gary Vee says, it's all about documenting. Everything's about documenting, because once you document something in terms of getting through it, then you understand it better, and then you can use it in other avenues and fall back on it. So let's start off with our 3 good feel stories of the week, and then we'll roll in and talk to Angela. The first one is a Louisiana supermarket employee who lets autistic customers stock shelves, gets $100,000 for college. I don't know if you saw this or not. A lot of people did. This was on the air, where there was I'll read it for you. It's a supermarket employee in Louisiana, and he went viral for letting a young customer with autism help him stock the store shelves. He has now been gifted $100,000 for college tuition. When Jordan Taylor, who works at the market in Baton Rouge, noticed Jack Ryan watching him refill the coolers, he offered to show him what to do. So he showed Jack what to do, and Jack started asking some questions and stuff, and his dad loved it. So his dad all of a sudden turned the camera on and the phone on and was recorded the whole thing. Well, it went viral because it's awesome, and Jack's father, who actually recorded it, his sister started a GoFundMe account and just put down $10,000 to help this kid. And it ended up being $100,000 in the GoFundMe account. So that's kick-ass, and I'm really glad. And I actually got a chance to see that, so I was really glad to see that happen. The second story of the week is bus driver's act of kindness helps elderly passenger cool off in the searing heat. This happened in Vegas, actually, and I saw this when I was watching Fox 5 in Vegas out there this past week. Bus driver Mike Blair on Monday noticed an older man who looked to be suffering, and what he said was about 105 degrees, and it was, when he decided to get out and help. This one gentleman, he said, would not board the bus. He just kind of hung out there. He seemed like he started to grasp the wall and like he was in distress. So after Blair, the bus driver, helped him on the bus, he placed him next to the air conditioner and reached into his lunchbox to offer him up a cool bottle of water. And, of course, just like the father with the autistic kid, and somebody grabbed the iPhone and started the recording. And they captured the moment, and they posted it to Twitter and Reddit, and it went totally viral. And actually now, it's funny because Fox 5 went out and interviewed the bus driver. He's like, well, I guess I better get a Twitter account now. Like he's Mr. Popular. And the third story of the week is a barber prepares kids for the first day of school with free haircuts and school supplies. And this was, the name of it is Perfect Line Barbershop, and its manager is Robert Banks, and he used money out of his own pocket to invest in his community. He gave out 100 free backpacks and haircuts so kids could start off the school year right. He said their appearance matters, and the first day of school is the best day of school. This is the 3rd year that Banks has organized the annual back-to-school support and supplies event at his shop in Ensley, Alabama, and it's one, he said, can change the future of the community just by showing these kids their potential. 3 awesome stories for this week. Hopefully that helps you out and tries to counter all the other dog shit that's going on. So let's welcome in, because I'm going to turn the video on for Angela. So hold on.
Hey, everybody.
There she is.
I'm back.
Hey,
back
Angela,
again.
back again. And so before you sat down, I told you to come in because we had chatted a couple weeks ago because you're going through the whole thing about trying to figure out kind of a little a purpose project for you to really find your niche. And so we've chatted a couple times before that, or since then. But before that, I want to start off. And you're also, not only that, you're also planning a wedding.
Yep. Oh, man, that part's stressful.
How's that going?
That is a lot of decisions to make and not enough money. I think every bride could agree with that statement.
Oh, without a doubt. And so how have you guys kind of found a kind of a formula to go? You doing like one thing first and then the second thing? Are you kind of nailing things down and moving on? What's the plan?
Yeah, so we've kind of been piecing it together more so ourselves to make it, I don't want to call it a DIY wedding, but more of a a la carte wedding. So instead of picking one of those venues where it's all inclusive with the meal, the DJ, the florist, everything, the alcohol, we found it a lot more affordable to just pick a venue that allows you to bring in your own vendors and stuff. So
good.
That's
Okay.
been helping a little bit. It's so funny with the couples dynamic when planning a wedding, because I think most brides would agree that first there's a little tension with trying to make big decisions, and then the guy Shane, he's been on the podcast before, was like, fine, you just make all the decisions, it's your wedding, and then you get in a fight. Well, I wish that he would help more, and it's just back and forth. So right now we're in a good place, but it's just funny.
So basically, you're going through the same thing that every couple goes through. Yeah, because I've been involved, and I can't tell you how many, and organized, I can't tell you how many, and that's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah, I hear it's pretty usual. So.
Yeah, that's pretty secret. And I think we talked about it before. And this show's not about the wedding, but I just think this is another transition thing. You're trying to do two things at once. What's the average cost of the wedding now? Isn't it like 30 something?
Oh yeah, the average cost I believe in 2017 was $36,000.
That's insane.
Yeah, we're staying way under that.
God, that's insane.
Because that's too much money.
Just for the fact that I'm not a party pooper or anything, but what you could do with $30,000 in terms of like paying down your student loans, or I know it's boring. Buy a house, yeah. Go on a decent trip and put the rest in the bank. I mean, yeah, I just forget. Okay, so I'm not going into a commentary about that.
I agree with that. It's
all right, so
outrageous.
so let's roll into, now that we know that everything is going as planned.
Yeah.
Let's go into where are you? Because the last time that we talked, and you don't have to get into specifics if you don't want to, but the last time that we talked, you have a background, through your family, and it's something that you have a passion for. There's a big interest for that, and then you are in that field now, but it's not cutting it because you know for a fact you're more entrepreneurial, and I'm just setting the table.
Yeah.
I think that because we talked previously,
Yep.
and now you're trying to find your niche. So give a little bit of lead into that, and then kind of go in terms of just let me know, because I haven't talked to you for a while.
Okay.
So what's going on?
Yeah, for sure. So, like you said, I've always known that I've liked cosmetology, and I went through school because my parents own the business in Las Vegas, but kind of knowing I didn't really want to be working behind the chair as a stylist, but more so like in the business. I have a degree in business management. I really enjoy like marketing. Right now, I'm currently in sales within the beauty business, so on the distribution side. So I'm selling the color and the hair care products into salons. But I still have this weird little calling that I feel where I'm at right now, it's a stepping stone, and I know it's kind of getting me to where I want to be, and it's giving me experience and exposure in the market, and I'm learning sales, how to close the sale. But in the back of my head, I still feel, okay, this is not what I want to do.
Was there a tipping point, a point where you got to a point where you're like, I have to do something about this. This is just not going to do it for me?
Yeah, I think with any new job, quote unquote, you kind of go through like the honeymoon phase, right? You're the first couple of months, you're excited, you're learning something new, you're picking up new business, you're closing deals, and then, you know, getting closer to your 9-month year mark, you realize, okay, is this position for me or is it not for me? And I don't want to say, you know, that I'm a horrible fit for this job. I just know in the back of my mind, if I want to be true to myself, I know it's more into the marketing end of it and more. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I have that self-motivation skill, if you will. And so actually, I think it's just been through conversations with you and some of my family members, Shane, my closest people. Hey, what do you guys think I should do? Like, I'm not 100% happy or fulfilled with this position I'm in now. Like, it's a step in the right direction and I like the beauty world. I just know it's not exactly where I want to be.
But that's a good point, though. A good point is if you do come up against something like that, you know, ask your tribe.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, what you don't have to go verbatim in terms of what they say or what they think, but I think you get a pretty good sense if you ask the people that are close to you kind of what your gig is and kind of where you want to go with it.
Yeah, it's so true. So I was kind of feeling like, okay, I don't know what to do. I just don't have the answer, but I know it's not 100% right. So I actually met with some of my old coworkers from my last job for coffee. And I said, yeah, here's where I'm at. This is how I'm feeling. Do you guys have any suggestions? And one of my friends was like, well, Angela, you're so good at marketing naturally. And she said, you know, you have the experience in the beauty business, especially growing up with it with your family. Why don't you do something for marketing for stylists? My girlfriend was actually like, my stylist, he's amazing at hair, but he doesn't know how to put himself out there. He's struggling as like a business owner because he's a what you call like a renter. So renter is just kind of lay it out, are essentially their own boss at the salon. So
what do? They rent the space or they rent the chair?
Yeah, they rent the chair. Okay. Yeah. So they just pay like a monthly rent fee and then they have to build their own clientele. A lot of times they have to buy their own product, depending on the salon, but essentially they have to have their own website, their own social media and promote themselves, build themselves, because at the end of the day, they're just making sure they can pay rent to the salon owner. So
you've gotten to that point to where there we go. You've gotten to that point to where you know kind of what you want to do or kind of a niche. You have an interest in a niche, which is usually the beginning of everything. So when you have an interest in a particular niche, then the next step would be to start exploring, right? In terms of the viability. I mean, in terms of how you can do that or something. What's been the process so far in terms of you trying to see if it's going to work or not?
Yeah. So actually, I feel like this is where I have to thank you, because a couple calls to Tony and I'm like, hey, this is what you do. Can you kind of direct me? Here's how I'm feeling. And so one of the exercises you had me do was write down like all the skills that you're good at and write down the things that you like or anything you can think about the beauty business. And so I actually did. I thought you were kind of crazy, but I did the exercise the next morning.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I started,
that's okay. Everybody does. Yeah. So that's fine.
And then you start connecting the dots of how you can kind of piece this together with your skills, your talents, and your interests, basically, and how you can kind of create the puzzle together. So I did that, and I kind of came up with like a couple ideas, and I talked them through with my fiance and a couple other people, but it still, part of me was like, I don't know if this is exactly right. So I just kept it in the back of my head, kept reflecting, I guess you could say. And then a couple conversations when I met with some old coworkers for coffee. I'm like, okay, marketing, business, this is kind of coming together. It's not what I pieced together with the exercise that you had me do, but I'm like, okay, if other people can see what I'm good at, then I should take a hint here. And so then one of the things you suggested was start looking up people in the industry, listening to their podcasts, looking at their social media, doing research, and just kind of start playing with things and see, does it light your fire? So I did that, and I actually found a stylist So I kind of went through this process, and we talked about this, where I found a company that was doing exactly what my idea was, and I was super bummed.
Which will happen.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
And I was like, for a couple days, more than that, I'd like to admit, I was like, all right, someone else out here is already doing exactly what I want to do. What's the point of me like trying to do this? They probably have more funding and a team of people, and I'm just trying to start this in my living room. I'm not capable of this, all that self-doubt.
Sure.
So I got in my own head and was like, I can't do this. And then we had the conversation. You're like, no, that's part of the process. Keep moving along. And there's like a different fit for you. Maybe there's space for both of you in the world. So maybe her business structure is this way, but you can kind of build it and almost not like partner, but you could live right next to her in this space of helping stylists market themselves. So,
complementary.
Complementary, that's the word.
I think so too.
Yeah. So I thought about that, and I was like, okay, you're right. I need to not get out of my head, my own head. So, and I also reached out to that business owner, and I never heard back from him. I reached out on social media just to like inquire about their services, just to fact find, and never heard back from him on social media.
As a potential customer?
Yeah.
And they didn't get back. Well,
No.
there you go.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so maybe their business is not working.
Maybe not.
And they're clearly not interested in potential money.
Yeah, I mean,
as a customer.
Yeah. That says a lot.
Yeah.
But see, again, that's a part of the process of getting out there and seeing. And even though there's a fine line between blue ocean, red ocean, if you ever heard of that thing, you don't want to go into a red ocean, an ocean where there's a bunch of people in there and it's a race to the bottom. Because you're not going to get there. I mean, if you're going in as a motivational speaker and you're going up against Tony Robbins or Gary Vaynerchuk,
right.
you have no chance.
Right.
But if you find a little niche off of that, then you can. It's like the same thing. If you're going in against, if you're making beauty products and you're going right up against Aveda, then you're screwed because you're making them out of your bathtub.
Yeah.
You don't have a chance.
Yeah.
But maybe you could make something that they don't. You can you can revolutionize a lipstick, moisturizer, something, whatever, and you can kind of mesh some things together, and then that's complementary to the point where they're going to say, hey, would you like to add your thing to here, or we'll buy your business. And so that's kind of the thing. So it's a fine line between that, because it's very, very rare to find something that nobody has done.
Yeah,
like super rare. And especially at the very beginning when you're looking for things. Because with the very beginning, you're looking on the same knowledge base as everybody else. The reality is everybody else. I mean, in terms of cosmetics, it's, eyeshadow and mascara and hair products and stuff. It takes getting into it and diving into that deep end. Then you figure out the subtleties and the nuances that are involved. And I think that's where you have a heads up, a little bit of a heads up.
Yeah.
And that's where people with a passion or a little bit of experience in something, or that have really geeked out on the data or the research, can figure that little niche out. And that's where you got to hit it.
Yeah.
And that's where.
Exactly.
So and the self-doubt thing, I think that's huge, because there's nobody on the face of the planet that hasn't had self-doubt when they're trying to do something like this, because this is balls.
I also think to kind of add to that, now I lost my train of thought. I totally had it when you were talking, and now
but believe me.
Anyways,
believe me. Believe me. I do that all the time. So having the self doubt that you've had, where you, and you always take a step back and stuff, but you get back up and you start going through it.
Yeah.
Where are you at right now?
So right now I think also kind of to like backtrack a little bit, and then I'll answer the question, but trying to kind of figure out what the need is in the market too, because I've always been entrepreneurial, but I feel like some things that I've started, maybe I wanted it more than there was like a need or a want for people to want it, I guess, if you will. So now that I'm kind of learning, okay, I'm out there in this current job, I see a gap and I'm like, okay, so I think people will actually pay for this service or whatever it may be because they're struggling with it. When I ask salon owners, hey, what are your struggles? What do you want assistance with? A lot of them answer the same thing: social media, marketing. I need help with my website. And so I'm realizing that a lot of these salon owners or stylists, they're all saying the same thing. And so, and we even talked about like maybe not helping one at a time, but figuring out a way to create a program to like scale it or something. And
Absolutely.
And that I never, it's about talking with the right people, because that was something I've never really considered. So.
But that's another hugely important thing. If you really, I don't know, I'm always been the type, first of all, I'm entrepreneurial, and I mostly deal with entrepreneurial spirit people that want to do their own gig or figure out their own little niche. The second thing is that 99% of the time, it's not to just deal with one person at a time. It's to create something. Now that we have this amazing tool and this amazing vehicle online, the interweb, that we can throw, and we can make our online courses, and we have so many great tools out there that we can easily do that. And we can also easily promote every single week in terms of doing a Facebook Live or doing a podcast or something. That's the way to go, because you can hit and influence so many more people with a product that can help people, because really that's what it comes down to, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
I want to help people, and that's like my whole thing is, I think at the base of every business you want to help somebody, or it should be at least, that you're helping others, and that's where I feel fulfilled. If I know I'm making an impact, I'm making someone's business better, I'm getting them one new customer, it's the little things. But I think that's kind of, and something that you have to keep in the back of your mind when kind of trying to create this new direction or pave the path.
It is. Again, money is, I mean, I love money just like anybody else, and it's great. It's, we've all agreed that it has value and stuff. Yeah. If you do something for money, if that's the number one priority, it'll go bust, because it's just, that's not enough of an internal and an external leverage to move you through some things. It has to be to help people and help yourself. It has to be. That's the key. And as a matter of fact, everybody that I work with, I have them promise me when they go through something. My thing, I call it a purpose project. Now,
I like that.
Whether they make money or they don't is up to them later, once they can scale it to that point and do that. But the entire process of putting together this purpose project is for your own expanse, and it's for your own satisfaction, as well as helping, using your tools and your talents and helping people around you. Or as many people that you can find in your tribe. That's the key to all of this. And that's the whole point. And that's why you can't put the pressure of making money, of monetizing something immediately on anything. Because then you just get all screwed up, too. And that's why it's really hard.
You stress yourself out.
You do. And, there was a new study that just came out, and I know I mentioned this earlier, and this came out probably 6 months ago, about entrepreneurs who decided, there was one or two things. Either you quit your day job and just go balls, just go full on 100% into this thing, or you stay with your day job and do your moonlighting and your side gig and stuff. There was a 35% greater increase in success if you kept your day job.
Ooh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because you don't want to, the worst thing you can possibly do is get rid of your foundation. Because if you get rid of your everybody says, oh yeah, if you burn the bridge behind you, or if you take the net away, then that'll motivate you more. No, it'll freak you the hell out. Yeah. And then you're more stressed about things, and it doesn't free your mind to be expansive and to get through this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's good to keep in mind, because there's some days where I'm like, I don't have time for my day job. I just want to quit and then dive deep into this and get it going faster.
I've been trying to quit the real estate business for 32 years.
And you're still in it.
32. Yeah, you know why? It's great money.
The money.
It's great money. I do it part-time because I can do this too. It's been it's been a transition over the last 8 to 9 years, ever since I started this. And it still works for me. Yeah. And it still works, and I can still continue to do it. Now, eventually, I'm not going to, but that's the whole point. The point is, why would I give up something like that? Even if I don't like it. It's not the greatest thing in the world. It's like you and your job. I know it's sometimes it's it's like anybody in their job, right? Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but at least it's you got to live in both worlds. You got to pay your bills. You got to do your responsibilities. You got to pay your student loans, and all that time you could work on your side gig at the same time. Does it make it harder? Hell yeah, it makes it harder. Because when you get home, it's not like you're getting home. You just kind of kick and then then you're watching your Black Mirror.
Yeah,
binging that. It's not, you can't do that. But that separates us entrepreneurs from everybody else.
Yep.
And there's about 1% of us out there.
Yeah.
So if you want to do this, that's what you have to do.
Work.
Yeah.
I think so. I remember what I was going to say now.
Oh, good.
It was about the comparison thing. So when you're comparing yourself to like-minded people that are kind of doing what you you're striving to do or in your industry, what you don't realize is the work they've put into it too.
Yeah.
Maybe for 10 years they've worked on this part-time, early mornings, late nights, on the weekends, and then all of a sudden you're looking at their website and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be her. She got there overnight. And I'm like, no, what I don't realize, if I actually go back and listen to this one person's podcast in particular, she's been doing this for years, but I didn't know that, first couple impressions. And so I'm like, okay, well, if she could do it overnight, you're not thinking about the work that she's already put into her or others. And you can't compare yourself. Everyone's time frame is different. Yeah. Maybe it did take her 2 years. Maybe it took her 15. Maybe mine will be a year. You just, you got to, if your heart's in it, you got to put the work into it. You got to wake up early. You got to go to bed late. You got to do what you can when you can. And I think right now I'm kind of in this, I'm stressing myself out a little bit because I'm like, when am I going to find the time? I'm tired, But once you kind of get into it, if you love it, like, time passes because you're having fun while you're doing it.
You are. And then even when you're not having fun, right? Because you have a vision. Yeah. And the vision is set. And you're not focused on the fact that you're looking at somebody's highlight reel like you did with that girl versus looking at the behind the scenes stuff that's been going on for maybe even years. And the thing I've noticed doing my entrepreneurial stuff and having my small businesses as I've gone, certain parts will take a long time, and then other parts will take like an hour.
Yeah,
it's weird.
That's so true.
Yeah, because you kind of roll along. All of a sudden, and then I get into like setting up Aweber or something, or setting up email stuff. It took like an hour. I'm like, oh shit, that's done.
Yeah.
Because you think because your mind tends to think linearly, like, okay, this step and then this step is, God, it's taking me this long to research. How long is it?
Or an unexpected bump. Like, I didn't realize this was going to be so hard to set up the software. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like sometimes that stuff, and then you put pressure on yourself. Well, I just wasted all this time, and I could have been doing this, and then you kind of get into this little head frenzy. I think
exactly, which is, and that's exactly what happened with me with the Facebook advertising stuff. When I first got into Facebook, I thought, okay, well, you put your stuff up there. Yeah. Oh man, it is so
you can spend hours every day on that.
Complex. Yeah. Getting into that power editor and getting through, and then finding your market. And then doing your demographics, and then
it's easy to give up on that stuff too.
Oh God, well, yeah, because it gets it's like the whole thing where you see an onion, and you're like, oh, there's an onion, but then all of a sudden you peel and oh my God, this thing's got 150 layers to it, and just one onion, and that's your first onion in the whole salad,
Yeah.
And now you're caught on 150 layers in the damn onion, and you have the rest of the salad to make, and that's what happened, and that's the whole point about the entrepreneurial thing, and the fact that I have no patience. That's a big thing, a problem I have. So I get into stuff like this. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
I should have been. I should have been here a year ago. I should have been doing this 2 years ago. I should have been. Or why am I not going faster on this kind of stuff? So basically, you're just killing yourself.
Yeah. But it's only your own pressure.
Yeah,
no one else is putting that on you, but your own mind.
It only comes and so that moving forward. What's your next step? Where are you going with this?
So I'm going to keep right now where I'm at I found this one lady who's doing something similar. And so it's one of like the online programs like you had mentioned. And when you told me that, I'm like, how's this going to work? And then, so I took one of her online. She did like a free webinar class, and then she sold me on this stupid course.
Of course.
Okay, not stupid because
because you're going to do the same thing.
And I want to build my business off
exactly.
Kind of what she's doing, obviously a little bit different. But so I'm doing the course, or I'm going through the course right now, and going through all the modules to see how she set it up, what kind of information it entails, and then hopefully from there it's going to kind of piece things together. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more unexpected stepping stones, if you will, but at least I kind of know, okay, it's working for this lady that's doing it right now. And why not copy someone that's successful?
Modeling.
There you go.
Tony Robbins, he's like the modeling poster boy.
Yeah.
You listen to John Cleese just had a spoken word thing or whatever. I saw a little bit of John Cleese from Monty Python. One of the best comedians ever. He goes, yeah, I just steal. He goes, yeah, when you're young or you start now, just steal stuff. It's not like you're like copying, but you're modeling the process.
A little piece of this, piece of that
because
from everybody.
Right.
Copy what's working.
Yeah, because you and I, even me coming into this and doing this online course stuff that I'm creating right now.
Yeah.
Coming into it brand new and not having done it before. Well, how do I think I know what the hell to do?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm looking at I can't tell you how many courses I bought. Just to take a
I
look
like
at
that.
them and stuff. And
I thought I was the crazy one.
Oh, no.
Okay.
That hurts me, too. Do you know how
You're
much that hurts me?
Yeah.
That when I buy a course and I go and I'm like halfway through it, I'm like, oh, this is dog shit. This is such...
Or it was like a spur of the moment thing because they sold you on it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're like, I don't even need this.
Oh,
Why did
yeah.
I
Oh, done that.
before? Yeah.
Done that. Matter of fact, I've spent thousands of dollars doing that.
Yeah.
And
then you're trying to justify, well, maybe
Yeah.
I can kind of see,
Yeah,
And I'm like, okay, really, I didn't need that.
No, rationalization is really the key to happiness.
Yeah. I like that because I do it too.
Right? So we do it. So your next step is going to be going through the modules and kind of learning through the modeling process.
Yep,
okay.
exactly.
All right.
So
Well,
that's where I'm at.
You're going to have to keep me up on what's going on because
Yes.
I'm extremely excited. So
Yes.
even though we really don't have, you're not a client or anything, but you kind of are. So it's kind of fun to go through this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So well,
And it's helpful for me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very
win-win.
helpful.
You can thank Melissa for that.
Melissa and Tony, shout out to you both.
Right. See, there you go. So it's so thanks, Angela, for coming in.
Yeah.
Keep us up on what's going on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And also the
Definitely.
wedding. Good luck with all that fun stuff.
A lot of things kind of in the air right now, but I know.
Yeah.
we'll
Do you
all
want
come
to
together.
spin another plate? Get another one going, or throw another ball in the juggling thing? Do you want to do that?
Wait, what do you mean?
You like add something else.
Oh,
You might as well. You got
I'm
everything
just,
else.
I just meant like you got a lot of moving parts with the wedding.
That's
and
what I
then-
mean.
And then with the trying to start something like on my own, got a lot of pieces that are like incomplete right now, but it's the future.
Yeah, you want to
Looking
take
into
up
the
piano
future.
or something?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
all right. You might as well just bring something else into the mix. You got
Right? Some ballroom dancing.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
there you go. Talk to Shane about that. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Remember, javabud.com, and also YouTube. The Java Bud's going to have the video up with both of us. And if you have any questions or concerns or whatever, you can always get a hold of me at tony@javabud.com. You can listen on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. If you have any comments about anything, or if you want to watch any of the other podcasts or the videos on the site, just go to javabud.com. That's it. The book's there, the freebies there, all the same shit's there. I talk about it every single week. So thanks again, Angela. Appreciate it.
Thank you
And
for
we'll see you guys.
having me.
See you guys next week. Bye.